Kailangan. tell you what, this is unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable. Honestly, this he's fucking asshole. It was so funny. Oh, I swear to God, it's well, it was just yeah, bewildering. That's funny shit, bro. Reflecting on it, releasing all the reflections of joy, knowing that it's been dealt with. Oh, alleviation of enlightenment. Because I throw my whole heart into it, so it's a good job. How could I not? Fuck, it'll be forever. That'll be forever. It won't be forever. I'm just being incredibly lazy now. Well, that's just. Well,
Miami.
what's on this one? It's a fucking crazy thing. That was. That's crazy. No, it isn't. It's a digital image being projected. With it in hand. Yeah, man. Let's have a look. See if I can find it. Somewhere there, somewhere. I have my phone. Amelia, you do realise we're activating the same DNA as well, right? So our personality crossovers through the energies are going to be unbelievable. Looking for a DNA upgrade, aren't you, Amelia? You're wearing thin. That's definitely not a flare. Quantum air densities, it's breaking up the shadow frequency of the moon's projection, or relativity of projection, because it's an inception. It's a quantum inception. So it will refract, essentially. Because it's breaking up the time dilation of the shadow frequency via air density separation, essentially. But because it's a limitation of time, you notice how the gap is the same between them as well, because that's like that's like going to be it's an air density equation with the time dilation of the frequency. So it's going to be like a second interval, because we live in because time is relative and we live within a time dilation. That's part of the matrix. That's part of why the clock is how it is. You could have time created. It's set around the rotation. Yeah, of course it is. That's the fundamentals of it. But you can make up any fucking numbers you want. You can make up any clock you wanted. It could have half as many digits. Yeah, that's part of the consciousness inception. So everything's 1 second. Yeah, so that's probably like a second interval or something like that, or it'll be some equation of relative perceptual interpretation, and that's the differential. That's why it's imposed several times. So it'll be a time dilation interval that's relative to the differentials of the air density, because there'll be pockets as well. There'll be pockets of air density in differential. essentially. I could go on forever about this stuff. It's just unlocked from I don't need to study, it's already unlocked there. The answer's already there all the time. Yeah, sort of. That's essentially like what they're doing with the dimensional building. Anyway. And then the moon just goes back a step, but it's within the same distance comparison. So, I mean, for example, our maths, the fundamentals of our maths are, well, it's an equation, but it's still, there's a greater truth of mathematics there. You know, the true one isn't 1.0, it's 1.1111 infinitely. That's true one. Yeah. So you could just go like that. Because there's always a differential. There is no stagnant. As soon as we build our perceptions on stagnance, we're limiting ourselves. We're limiting our consciousness. We're limiting our awareness of reality due to it, or from it, actually. So there is no 10 because it's 9.9. Even if you were to go 1.111, 2.222, etc. Right, there is no 10 because it's 9.9999, which would equate to 10, yeah? Because you would stop, and then yeah? For example, there is no 10. So what's the difference of 10? Well, that's the slight differential, isn't it? Because reality, there always is an evolution. There always is a slight instability, but that slight instability isn't chaos. It's only perceived as chaos from something that is in chaos that requires order. No. Something that's not in chaos and doesn't require order because they're in their own form of law, that essentially in equilibrium with the laws of the universe, evolution, right? There's always a differential, because if there wasn't, there's no room to evolve. That differential comes from somewhere, and it's not consciousness. It's evolution itself. It's the surrender of consciousness into awareness, which is new information. So there's always a, well, I'm damning it, calling it an instability, aren't I? It's not really an instability, it's just the unknown beckoning before. It's always there and always is a constant, because it's love, essentially. And you are the paradoxical mirror of that love in perceptual gauge. That's what's going on. So you're co-creating reality, your relative perceptual plane of reality. And unity isn't on the outside, you don't find it with your head, it's inside of you already. It's just been forgotten by some people, and that's your awareness. I'll just paradoxically, I'll end up making loads of paradoxes, and it will just link everything. Basically, that's what's going to end up happening if I continue with this conversation, or explanation, or however you want to perceive it, within an integration of your relative plane, an intable, undeniable perpetuation.
Explain. But when it comes to unexplained phenomena in the sky, it doesn't stop there. So I'm here at a track meet in Nacogdoches, Texas at Stephen F. Austin University, waiting on my son to run. And I like taking pictures and videos of the moon. Are y'all seeing this? Do y'all see what I see? What in tarnation is going on here? I thought the moon was splitting in half. Do y'all see this?
Just a couple of weeks ago, an internet user known as SuNd4wN captured something chilling while looking at the moon. She was somewhere at Boston University and it was a beautiful day, when all of a sudden she spots what looks like a black streak crossing the moon. And at first, I thought it could be an airplane or something like that. But if you pay close attention, it's as if whatever this thing is, it's flying on the moon's atmosphere, not on Earth's. There's absolutely no sign of this object in the sky besides on the moon's surface. Strange, isn't it? But things get even stranger in Vietnam when a man was recording a thunderstorm and caught something that he never expected to. Around May 2021, an internet user known as SuNd4wN caught what appeared to be an octagonal-shaped object hiding amidst the clouds during a thunderstorm in Vietnam. Did you see that? What appears to be a massive octagonal-shaped object can be clearly seen in the sky. Whatever this thing is, it caught the attention of the entire internet and media outlets. To this day, there's very little explanation to what this object could be, and taking a closer look at his profile, it doesn't seem like he's a CGI artist or anything like that. So whatever it was that he caught on camera that night, it could just be an unknown object hiding within the clouds. But I want to know your thoughts. What do you think is going on here? And have you ever seen anything like this before? Every month or so, new discoveries are made in relation to ancient structures, artifacts, and sometimes unexplained ruins that don't fit into the timeline that we've been taught. These findings raise serious questions about our past. Maybe history as we know it isn't the full story. Maybe something happened a long time ago that we still don't understand. Something that could change everything we think we know about the past and ancient civilizations. And I guess that this is exactly the case with the earthquake that just happened recently in Myanmar. On March 28th, a 7.7 earthquake hit Myanmar, and it was a strong one. Strong enough to cause a tectonic displacement so big that you can actually see it from Google Earth. A few days after that happened, several videos started popping up all over social media of this bizarre substance that started emerging from the ground. But it wasn't just this strange substance. Ancient ruins and unexplained phenomena were also caught on camera. It all starts with this internet account known as Zarmo20000. On March 28th, he uploads 3 very strange videos that caught the attention of the entire world. Check this out. What appears to be a bluish-gray substance can be seen emerging from the ground, and whatever this thing is, it was a result of the strong earthquake that happened back in Myanmar on March 28th. At the time, this left locals completely baffled. What is this mysterious substance that they had never seen before? While searching for an answer, I found out that this might actually be blue clay as a result of soil liquefaction. And to certain researchers, there are theories that this blue clay might actually be linked to the ancient empire of Tartaria. The Tartarian Empire theory suggests that there was a highly advanced global civilization called Tartaria that existed before our recorded history. Believers claim it was deliberately erased, with its massive architecture and technology buried or hidden from public knowledge.
That is the Crystal Palace of New York City, and that is the Crystal Palace of London. This building was constructed of entirely glass and iron. It was over 100,000 square feet. It was absolutely massive. It does not exist in New York City anymore, and it does not exist in London anymore. They destroyed the Crystal Palace and everything that was in it. If you want to see this, the flags, if you guys want to kind of see that, everything that was contained in there was stuff that would blow people's minds.
Some believe that this lost empire got somehow erased by a mud flood about 10 to 20,000 years ago. Now, to support this crazy theory, some people suggest that the modern towns that we live in today were built above certain ancient structures.
Here we have a video from the Mine Explorer in France, where it goes down into a mine with a lot of architecture that would seem to be on the surface, probably at the time of when this little city was around. There's even a car from the early 1900s and just endless tunnels.
You got to remember, guys, dimensions are layers, right? They're layers. They're layers of consciousness, okay? Conscious acceptance. But then that gets wrapped into a gnosis, right? It gets wrapped into a gnosis, which is a sphere, technically, because, well, it's a vortice of your correspondence with reality, but then that creates a unity, singularity of relativity from your soul spiritual gauge of perspective, not your head, because your soul's ultimate truth of purity. So it's God, it's connected to God, it's connected to the ultimate truth. The reason why you're living this life of causality, quantum causality now, and you're conscious in this one and not the others, is because this is the one living your greatest truth. This is your strongest polarity of relativity. So, going back to what I was on about, and why it's a gnosis, and why it gets wrapped, is because your perceptual gauge is all of your mind is a lie compared to your soul. And that's why there's two states of light matter. That's why there's two. That's why it creates, there's a double electron effect. That's why electrons are also consciously aware of the observer effect of themselves. It's the same conscious quantum science, is that it's relativity itself being scientifically exposing itself to you, liberating itself to your very senses, is the observer effect being quantified into light being in two forms at once, which is a vortice, and it's in two, essentially it's because it's awareness and consciousness in two places at the same time, because we can't be at the ultimate truth, we're always going to be slightly behind it, but our soul is already there, which, that's how to perceive it spiritualistic, transpersonal psychologically. That's how to perceive it on a quantum level. It's because that is the truth of it. There's a lot more detail there. I'm brushing over it, but essentially that's why light is perceived such a way, and that's why everything's a gnosis, and that's why things get wrapped into a sphere, because it's a sphere of awareness, and the expanse of that is also the expanse of your consciousness, essentially, which is only going to incorporate more matter, I assume, because it's more layers of dimension that you're essentially adding into the equation of your perceptual gauge of relativity. That is your reality. That it formulates the basis for your reality. So that's what potentially that is. It's a previous dimension of the matrix build, of construct, of relativity, of electromagnetics, of which they're currently potentially in the process of building a new one with the whole geoengineering and chemtrail and all that stuff. Right? That's what that is, because it's electromagnetics and atmospherics. and the other stuff is all part of it, because they're growing crops and synthetic. They're looking, they're like Chinese have worked on synthetic photosynthesis, so they're going to have synthetic photosynthesis on GM crops that were designed to be synthetically photosynthesized in a reality that's been constructed with a new electromagnetic layer of dimension in the reality, and then you've got the food to go with it, haven't you? You know what I mean? You've got everything. You don't need to worry about everything, haven't you? You know what I mean? You're sorted. You've got your dimension with your AI and everything's sorted, and you've got your food and everything's all provided for you, and it's just nice and cushy, and that's it. And you can just carry on and don't worry about anything because it's all sorted. Okay, you just carry on and carry on, and it's all just going to be fine for you. Okay, and that's it, and that's what they're about. So yeah. And then there's going to be the acceptance of that, and then there's going to be the people that are awake to what's going on and consciously aware and enough to not allow their soul recognition of self-awareness and identity of the soul. Basically, the soul is not going to accept it. There's going to be some people where they will, and that's where they'll go, right? And then there'll be other people that won't, and there's going to be a split of dimensional realities, and some people are going to be in the Kool-Aid with AI and being led down wherever that goes, and then the other is going to be a spiritual awakening, and it's going to be expansive. It's going to be expansive. The moon's going to look differently because it's not going to be a 3D perspective reality gauge in inception of shadow frequency inception, essentially, of the planet. This is obviously this is just my own theory, and to do with this is specifically to do with the moon and what's going to happen, of course. And there's going to be extraterrestrial contact there because it's going to be more spiritualistically based, which is more reality because it comes from reality fundamentally. Your spirituality feeds your consciousness, and well, you've got to assume it's going to be a more prosperous sort of a place, isn't it? Less technologically focused, but not technologically ignorant. Just a different kind, more a spiritual based technology, which is to do with connecting to the universe and energy experiences and travelling around in vehicles that are to do with that more side of things, and just sort of because you realise fundamentals, it's consciousness, so you need to expand your consciousness in order to travel around and things like that, and that's that whole extra level that half the people are gonna the 5D people technically from the 3D people or the 5D people that's where that's the sort of future that they're going to be looking at, and a sort of generalisation. So that, yeah, potentially the moon's going to look different. There'll be a different extra layer on that. It might be prosperous and have life on it. That's what I'm saying. It could well be potentially Nibiru, although that could well be wrong as well, because there has been a dark object seen closest to the sun fairly recently that's actually, like, when I say object, I mean it's a planet and it's quite big, and I haven't delved into that too much because it's just been recent, but I made it to a point anyway. That's the side thing. What I'm getting at is reality will change. There's going to be a reality shape thing. There's either you're going to get programmed into a new evolution, a new karmic cycle system, right? That's what's going to happen. You're going to be part of a new sort of level of a new built electromagnetic dimension of manipulation into a karmic system, or you're going to ascend and you're going to be part of a re-evolution of spiritual re-evolution of self reintegration into a well, there's going to be more reality there, isn't there? That's what I'm getting at, I suppose. There's going to be a different reality there for both, but there's going to be access to more realms of existence, isn't there? Because it's an expansive process rather than a narrowing down, I suppose. That's what it is, you know. If I suppose that's the duality that's before us, as I remain a 4D gateway between the two. That I shall remain for within varying degrees as part of this process. So, and when I say degrees, I mean depths, because it's the inside out. It's not. You make geometries, but it's from the inside out. So it's not outside sources making degrees. No, I've already established that. So, right. Anyway, I shall continue with my thermocymatics and watch the rest of the video.
With stonework.
But if you look at the front, you'll notice that the windows, those were windows at one point. You see down there on the bottom, the arch, that's Bigelow Street. We're on the corner of Bigelow and Jelfin. And then you notice there, those were windows. That was the first floor at one time.
Now, what does blue clay emerging from soil liquefaction have to do with the Tartarian Empire theory? Blue clay is a dense, water-rich sediment often buried deep underground, formed from ancient marine deposits. During earthquakes, a process called liquefaction causes saturated soil to lose strength and behave like a liquid, forcing layers like blue clay to the surface, which some believe may be covering ancient buried civilizations, such as Tartaria. And if this weren't strange enough, a few days later after the earthquake in Myanmar, locals began noticing that remains of mysterious ancient structures had surfaced from the ground in several different places. The mysterious structure suggests that there's something that goes far beneath the surface in Myanmar. But it's not just in Myanmar that structures like this appear to be hidden beneath a thick layer of mud. For the past couple of years, researchers have found many structures that suggest there was something that happened back in the past, ended up covering part of our history.
Today we're going to visit a plot of land that is currently being dug out to look for artifacts dating back thousands of years ago. I'm in the Brickell neighborhood of City of Miami.
Sharp-eyed observer found from his building up high, noticing that the new construction in his city was revealing something much, much older.
Now, being that these structures can be found all over the world, it would suggest that an entire civilization, possibly known as Tartaria, got wiped out by a mud flood a few thousand years ago, and for some reason, it got completely erased from history.
Hey, so I got this little book, and I was excited to show y'all. You can't really see too much. This is the book right here, 1820, and this is what the book is. It's Geography or a Description of the World. Asia, Independent Tartary, Chinese.
And even though there is some evidence of such a thing happening, there is no definite proof, and it's considered to this day as just a theory. But I want to know your thoughts. What do you think happened in the past?
These real-time translation earbuds are taking the world by storm. They let you speak and understand over 140 languages.
Located in Peru, the coastal town of Chilca is one of those places where people report seeing strange things all the time. Things like strange lights coming out of the ocean, usually at night, and fairy tale-like creatures such as mermaids, werewolves, and that sort of thing. Even though these things don't officially exist, the number of people who actually report seeing these strange things is difficult to dismiss. And it was at a place known as the Enchanted Lake that a man by the name of NDV captured something truly chilling on camera just a few weeks ago. Now, Andy usually posts vlog-type videos on his page, but something changed in his recent uploads. And he talks about chasing something that he saw after spotting several lights in the sky during one dark night.
Ayer me fui a Chilca y esto pasó. Quisiera saber qué cosa fue o qué cosa es. Ayúdenme por favor ustedes a descubrir esto. Pero una de las lagunas.
It all started with NDV seeing these strange lights emerging from the ocean at a beach in Chilca.
Segundo día me vine acá a ver en la playa qué pasaba porque vi unas luces, vi unas cosas medias raras cuando estuve en la laguna y bueno.
That same night, he followed those lights towards the Laguna Encantada lake, and after that, he started getting these strange calls.
Bueno, mis hermanos, tercer día, ya me estoy yendo a mi casa. He estado tratando de ver si veía algo en la laguna, porque después de eso también he comenzado a...
This is 100%, it's an alien. It's an alien. That's right, these swampy tight little areas like that.
He became completely obsessed by what he saw, and night after night,
that because of what it is, it's a swamp. Okay, it's a swampy pond. It's a fair-sized pond. However, think open-mindedly with scientific plausibility of geological formations on planet. Look, swamps are a part of the geological process of planets, right? Not all planets necessarily, I don't know, maybe in due time, but not all planets are going to. That's just right. But as soon as planets are within ranges of formulation, right, geological formulation of process, then swamps naturally occur because it's electromagnetics from the sun, atmosphere, all the rest, the atmospheric building, and you end up with moisture and it's swamp life. That's your first sort of main basis for microbial and etc. And well, amino acids, all the rest. It creates a swampy, and there you go. There's your basis. So because of that, galactic, you could probably say universal as well, to be fair, right? But specifically our galaxy, because our galaxy has its own frequency compared to other galaxies. Every galaxy is its own player, yeah? Now I could go into details of that. I've got a theory that actually galaxies are spheres as well, but again, we're only within the perceptual plane of galactic dimensional acceptance. So you've got to take that into account, and you've got to say that maybe actually if you were to look at another galaxy with your full perceptual capabilities unlocked, that you might actually perceive other galaxies as spheres as well. Within, obviously, they're still hundreds of thousand light years of stars apart from each other within each galaxy, but relatively speaking, they from a galaxy to galaxy perspective, they might actually be spherical, right? So you've got to take that into account, because that's Well, it is, isn't it? It's going to be that, isn't it? You just know it, don't you? When you search inside itself, it fits with the laws, doesn't it? So why would that be any different just because it's astronomical and it's larger? It's not going to be. It's going to be the same. And there you go. And then you've got a singularity in the centre, which is the black hole. So it kind of, yeah, you were kind of building the same sort of. So anyway, galaxies have their own frequencies. So we've got the same frequency as swamp. The aliens that are around have probably come from our galaxy. There's probably going to be ones that's from other galaxies as well around, kicking around, obviously, because we're talking that sort of level of stuff now. But chances are they're going to be within our galaxy, aren't they? So they're going to be within the same frequency of evolution in swampy types of forms of plausibility for causality of RNA, DNA propagation to evolve the most successfully. And this is why there's lots of these different kinds of little grade type beings and all the rest. There might be some that's genetically engineered, and I think some of them have gone that route a little bit. But it's a formula that's kind of a humanoidy basis, right? That's worked, and yeah. So we're generalising with the greys and all the rest, right? Just so we're not, stepping on any toes or webs or yeah, anything like that. So yeah, what I'm getting at then is they can be utilised as dimensional portals because it's the same environment. It doesn't matter. There's the same potential bioelectric environmental conditions there for an alien from another planet to be able to sustain itself in an okay sort of vicinity, and its bioelectrics are going to be okay, and it's going to be quite comfortable and feel quite homely there in its little portal world swamp of a pond, isn't it? It's because its own evolution has came from there, so it's going to. There's going to it's going to be largely similar, or so it can survive in there better and more easily, isn't it? It's like, as well as being camouflage and a nice little hiding place for it, it's got, it can survive the elements, it can survive the differentials, because if it can survive underwater there, then it's potentially in a habitat, isn't it, of its own previous evolution, even though that's came from a whole different planet and galaxy. So that's my theory on that. That's why it's come from there, right? And that's why another reason why I'm firmly believing that it is real, apart as well as the fact, well, you can use your eyes and everything in more detail without being judgmental, and look at the fineries of how the muscles work, how it grips the side, and it's definitely not mechanical, because the thing's kind of trying to grip a bit, and it's like, if it was mechanical, it would be a bit different to that, and the way it grips on, and the way that you see the fineries of the muscles, and the way it is, you listen to your feelings of judgment and not your head, without being afraid, and it's, for me, it's pretty much a slam dunk in a pond. Swampy pond, that's an alien. And we'll watch it and you'll see what I'm on about.
He returned to this Laguna Encantada in hopes of catching these lights on camera. But this time he caught something else, something that he wasn't expecting. Did you see that? What appears to be a humanoid creature can be seen quietly emerging from the lake, and at this point, Andy does what anyone would do, and he runs for his life. The video is quite short, which led some people to speculate that this might be fake or an elaborate hoax. However, if we replay the video in slow motion, we can see that the creature's hands, features, and stature, it's all too real, which makes all of this very strange. There's also the fact that back in November, December, and January this year, there were several reports of drones and luminous objects emerging from the ocean, and that they were possibly of alien origin.
Advised after we made contact with that officer that there were 50 that came off the ocean.
50?
50.
It wouldn't be of a surprise that Andy caught something like this on camera. The next few weeks, Andy does not upload.
Right, now you see what I was on about, right? There's a double grip, essentially, as he comes in, right? He comes in, and there's a nice little, there's a grip there, and there's another one. And I'm assuming it was the original muddy hand grips that sort of obviously gave him away.
The next.
But it's a double grip. It's a double grip, which isn't that's not mechanical. The way it goes about it.
Next few weeks, Andy does not upload any more.
Yeah, and the way it grips with its hands after sort of, it's looking for the edge, but it's looking for the edge, but it only kind of and then the way the muscles.
Videos, and he disappears from the internet, leading a lot of people to think something had happened to him.
In my opinion.
At the time, the video caught so much attention that there were dozens of people traveling to Chilca just to try to find out what had happened to Andy, and if this creature was possibly real.
It really is.
Ah, sí, el marciano, sí, sí, aquí fue. Sí, acá fue, pues. No, pero la señora que está allá dice que trabaja 20 años, nunca ha visto nada.
Then a few days later, Andy uploads an update on the situation. Andy explains how he's been in contact with lawyers and people who advise him not to upload any more videos of whatever it was that he caught on camera. He also explains how he's been investigating the beach and the lagoon at which he saw these things. By the end of the video, it's very clear that whatever it was that Andy saw, he is completely obsessed with it. And a few days later, he uploads a snippet of another video of what appears to be a mermaid-type creature that they caught at the beach in Chilca. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is the real deal or not. To me, it sounds as if Andy's trying to tell a story, and it could be an elaborate hoax. However, no one has been able to fully explain Andy's first video of the humanoid creature. The creature's hands, arms, and its stature, it just seems way off, as if there's something unnatural about it. Some people on the internet suggest that his first video might actually be real, and that he somehow was forced to upload fake videos afterwards to discredit his entire.
I've got to credit his story though, because it would have a certain unnatural. It's going to move biologically accepting to the eye, but then different, isn't it? Because it's an alien, so you can't expect it to move necessarily like a person, human being sort of movement, even though it's extremely smart in its own sort of realms of whatever, right? It's in a different whole realm of vibrational acceptance. I mean, it could be a poor thing that's in trouble, but you look at a hand like that, well, yeah, you're being judgmental there, don't you? That's what I'm saying. Let's get this advert off. You start to be judgmental. I mean, what's to say that thing's just trying to survive because it's been shot down by some US or something, right? And it's had to find somewhere to survive, and it's found this pond, and it's coming up to try and say help, or because it needs help because it's like dying, and it's got these long arms and these kind of fingers and hands because it's a pilot on a vessel, right? It's a pilot, and they're spacefaring race, and they've evolved that way because for thousands of years they've been a spacefaring race of aliens, and that's just naturally how they've evolved anyway, right? So just because they kind of look all crazy to you, so you go on their energies, don't you? You don't judge on how they look. You judge on how's their energies, what they what's the, because that's how you judge their intention. Obviously, if they're just coming at you without a care on their mind, well, they're a bit psychotic, aren't they? Or they're going through a lot of shit and they need your help that badly that they don't care, which is, I suppose, the opposite of that. Because they care more. Well, there you go. There's a healer for psychotics. It's because they care more than what they're showing, and that's why. You see. Anyway. So yeah, it's easy to be judgmental. It is, but you go on the feeling. If it feels dodgy, if they don't feel right, then you go on that. Then that's it. But they will, and they're going to move differently. They're going to have a different energy set about them, so and everything. And the way they move because of their differences, so their body, everything, the structural. So you can't judge on that. That's trying to make things fit your narrative, which is manipulation. You're trying to the basis for mental manipulation. You're trying to make things fit you rather than trying to liberate out plausibility. Thus you find the greatest truth of causality, and then you're in control of causality, aren't you? Because that's all you follow. You're not trying. You don't need to. Yeah. You don't need to limit yourself. Yeah. Let's continue.
Have you ever woken up with that strange feeling as if you know something's not right? You don't know exactly what it is, but you just have that feeling as if the reality that we're living in isn't the same. The thing is, lately there are thousands of people feeling this way, as if reality somehow shifted. And I guess that this is exactly how a family in Moscow, Russia felt a couple of weeks ago when they were walking on the street at night, when all of a sudden they spot what looks like a very big X in the sky. This is what they saw.
Елена Анатольевна, мы вот сами не можем поверить. Мы пошли погулять. Мы сейчас И вот здесь вот такое чудо.
At first, it seems as if there's some sort of object, a luminous object shining from above the clouds. Most people passing by seem completely baffled by it. After replaying the video a couple of times, it becomes clear that this could be just a reflection of the building lights onto the clouds. Even though I'm not exactly sure that this is the case, it could just be that this is what's happening here. However, this is not the first time such a thing happens, and in other situations it's quite clear that it's not just a reflection, it's something else. In the following video posted by Paul Sear on December 2nd, we can see what at first looks like spotlights in the sky. However, in a matter of minutes, what appears to be a luminous object can be seen hovering just below one of the spotlights. At first I thought this could be an airplane or a helicopter, but then I noticed it wasn't blinking, it didn't have FAA lights, nothing like that. This is when this bright luminous object starts growing in size until it becomes very, very bright. video was recorded back in December in Hertfordshire in the UK, back when those strange orbs and UFOs were flying all over the world.
Advised after we made contact with that officer that there were 50 that came off the ocean.
50?
50. That was my reaction also. There were 50 that were coming off the ocean.
After a few moments of this object hovering still in the same place, it vanishes into thin air. There's also this other very strange sighting of this object that was caught on camera by Sonny Pickles 8 about 5 months ago in the state of Washington.
This mouse backpack is the best I've ever used.
Introducing the Mouse X Mercedes AMG F1 team bag. The Mercedes AMG Petronas Formula 1 team approached us and gave us our biggest product challenge ever. Take
Whatever this thing was, it stood there hovering above his house for a few minutes at 5:30 a.m. And after that, it simply vanished. But because the video is too short and there's very little information on it, it's very difficult to say. What I do know is that in this video we can't see any streak of light coming from the ground, which would suggest that this is possibly the real deal. However, in a video posted by PidgeKnacker01 on YouTube, things become really strange. This mysterious sighting was captured on camera somewhere in the Netherlands on April 5th, 2024, and this is what happens. Raar.
Het is een soort bliksem maar in één plek alleen. Wat is dat? What is that?
What appears to be a streak of light can be clearly seen hovering in the same spot for a few minutes, and it seems to be blinking in and out. It's as if whatever this thing is, it's hiding inside of the clouds. And PidgeKnacker01 was lucky enough to capture it on camera.
I mean, it's not like it's flashing across or anything like that, just that one place. One place.
In this other video, we can see a perfect example of a mysterious light that appears to be shining from behind the clouds, as if there's something hiding there. Check this out. Very similar to the first video that we just seen in Russia.
Сами не можем поверить. Мы пошли погулять.
This phenomenon remains completely unexplained, and no one knows what these things are, where they're coming from, and where they're going to. It's as if there's something that could be hiding in the clouds or in the sky, and we have absolutely no ways to detect it. But when it comes to things that have absolutely no explanation, it doesn't stop there. In recent years, a mysterious phenomenon known as the Mandela effect has intrigued millions of people worldwide. It began around 2011 when countless people remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison, although he was alive and later became president of South Africa. Officially, the Mandela effect refers to a collective false memory, causing widespread confusion over famous quotes, logos, historical events, and pop culture references.
No, I am your father.
I think I discovered a new Mandela effect. So I was showing my little sister my daughter's new shoes that I just got her, and they're Converse, and I'm like, wait, something is off. And then I was like, has the logo always been on the inside? And she's like, no. I was like, right, that's weird, right? Like, I've always worn Converse in middle school and high school, and it's always been on the outside of the ankle. Y'all, tell me why the logo is on the inside of the shoe. And then I went on Google to look up how long it's been on the inside, and it's talking about it's always been on the inside. I have never worn Converse with the logo on the inside. Yo, this is so crazy.
There is very little evidence of the existence of the Mandela effect, even though thousands if not millions of people remember things differently. However, on February this year, an internet account by the name of Clientele2.0 uploaded a very intriguing video of what's supposed to be one of the strangest evidence of the Mandela effect, and this is what was caught on camera.
I'm not sure what year this car is, but it's an old Ford, and probably in the 40s model. If you look at the front logo, you see the new logo from this new reality. But, weird thing, if you walk around to the back and look at the back logo on the bumper, look at that. That's the residual reality from the old Ford logo.
Now, I'm not exactly sure how you remember the Ford logo, but millions of people remember it like this, but officially it never existed. However, in this particular video, the person records what appears to be two different logos. The front one was clearly swapped at some point for the newer version.
The new logo.
Even though the car is very old, you can see that the logo type isn't rusty and it's new and very clean. However, the back logo is rusty, old, and completely.
The thing with that is there's not a detail on that, because somebody could just like graph that. Yeah, that could be. I mean, my dad could make that. He could forge that out of aluminium and just, you know. So, but it doesn't look like it's made out of aluminium, but it looks like it's like chrome, doesn't it? So, but
different.
Because it could have been just a copy, and then it's got knackered, and then somebody's done their own to replace it, right? And they've just not done the exact. But
residual reality.
It's exactly how millions of people remember the Ford logo.
I see what you're saying, though. Actually, you know, I see what you're getting at. That's okay. No, I stand corrected. It appears to be the original, and it's different. So, and let me just add that Ford were like right in the middle of World War II on both sides. So yeah, but that's because it's a matrix symbol. It's been used, but it probably has been used before. This is the thing, because if it's a manipulation from outside sources of consciousness, and they kind of liked how it worked out before, then they're going to stick to it, aren't they? Because they believe in ideologies. They're coming out from a mind first perspective. So if it worked if they like it, it works. So they'll use it again, don't they? Because that's where you see what I'm saying? So that's it could be an unearthed previous dimension of the last matrix before reset. And they guide humanity down the same sort of realms and try and sort of keep it within. Yeah. So obviously there'll always be differentials, but there you go.
Being years ago. However, officially this logo never existed. It's as if somehow we shifted into a parallel dimension at some point around 2011, and no one knows why or how.
I'm sitting here watching SpongeBob the movie, right? And I just noticed something that I don't remember. In this scene where SpongeBob's about to rock out the guitar, I remember him holding a white V guitar. Where did this peanut guitar come from?
But this isn't the first time someone captures a residual evidence of the Mandela effect.
There is no Mandela effect. And the Volkswagen logo has always been with a gap, as the Mandela effect deniers say.
It was a big spiritual
This is
the
actually
thing. There could have been loads of
GTV's
people
van.
drunk.
You,
Yeah?
say hello.
And they've already jumped ahead.
From the shifty Mandela
from the
van.
Mandela effect. from, yeah.
As you can see right here.
Like from the whole paradigm
Original
of causality
Volkswagen
soul
hubcap on a 1974 Volkswagen bus that has not reality shifted. With no brake. If there's always been a brake, and there's no Mandela effect, and we're all just crazy, what do we have here?
This is what you need to
I've also shown a guy at the beach, at Huntington Beach again, talking to people on the street.
So
He had a shop there. You know, like a flea market type thing, a farmer's market type thing, where he was doing artwork. And his artwork, he was making these sculptures of like these Volkswagen logos made by hand and painted by hand. And of course, he painted them with no brake. That's how he remembered them. Look at this.
But they're
Another
like a carbon
original hubcap.
copy of them compared to us. And it's because
if I wanted hair
there's
hanging down my
DNA
back like the
involved.
ancestors blessed it
And that's
personally,
partly
I would use
why.
castor oil. If I wanted
there's
edges so thick they'd need their own zip
mixes
code, I
there,
would
so
use
it's all
rosemary
interlaced,
oil.
so it's all
If I wanted to
part of the
reverse
same thing.
BHS or
However,
bald head
it
syndrome,
depends on the
I would use
strength
lavender
of
oil. If I wanted my brush to stop
significance of activation in accountings, you see. If you didn't feel connected to Nelson Mandela, then it's not going to have affected you because your soul didn't recognise it within a soul spiritual significance of relative perspective of quantum causality. Yeah, so it caught, but a load of people did, and it caused a glitch in the system because a load of people ascended. A load of people ascended, but they still, from the people's perspective of relative gaze that didn't ascend, right? From their perspective, those people didn't disappear, they just became a certain level of a dimensional karmic copy of themselves. And that is relativity, quantum consciousness, reality, and extra dimensions all explained into a fundamental formula of not plausibility, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to label anything because I don't compartmentalise. You can make what you like of that, but it is my greatest truth of reckoning and result simultaneously.
If we start digging around, we'll find several of these supposed residual Mandela effects. I've posted several examples already on other videos, but as time goes by, more of them keep popping up. Have you ever witnessed the Mandela effect yourself? And what do you think about all this? Is it possible that we're living in some sort of alternate reality like some suggest, or is this just misremembering things? What's your take? When it comes to supernatural paranormal events, one of the oldest documented cases would be of shadow figures. This dates back to ancient Egypt, where according to their legends, a part of our soul is called Ka, and was sometimes depicted as a shadow person. In their beliefs, these shadow beings could be either good or evil. In modern times, the term shadow people was popularized in the 1900s by Hoddy Hollis, who began writing about them. In very rare occasions, people would catch these supposed entities on camera, but when they did, they would almost instantly regret it. And this is the case with Josh and Crystal, who run a YouTube channel called Whispers Tales of Gore. In some of their videos, it's common to see them trying to contact and summon spirits, and according to ghost hunters, at least most of them, that's not a good idea.
That went off, but
if you're in this room and then dragged to the catacomb, can you please turn off that light? Three, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
for reference, they stopped doing tours and the
After a while, they just stopped uploading videos, no one knows why. And just recently, they came back with something chilling that happened to them.
It's okay. I can see you. Come to me. Are you a little boy? It's okay. Come here. It's okay.
While staying at a hotel in San Diego, California, they feel the presence of something in the room with them. They get their cameras and immediately begin to record. And at first, I thought they were seeing things. This is until this happens.
I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but it looks like she's going like back and forth.
Right now. Okay, darling.
She's moving. She's moving.
No.
It's okay.
No.
It's
Come
okay.
back. Come back.
Where?
No, you come back. Go straight. Look straight. Towards me. No. Turn towards me like you were earlier. Put your back towards me.
Josh and Crystal also thought they were seeing things. This is until a full-on shadow figure runs from one room to the other. It is clearly caught on camera. If we rewind the video a couple of times, we can clearly see that the hallway in which they're at is enclosed in walls. It would be pretty difficult to fake a situation like this. There is absolutely no one in the room with them. So what really happened here? Could it be that they're being haunted by one of these entities that they summoned in their previous videos? Or is it just an elaborate hoax?
Welcome to the State of Survival Ocean Shelter, the safest place to be. Forget normal houses, fancy RV.
But on November 2024, things get way scarier with sassy Cali girl. She lives somewhere in California with her son and daughter, and at the time, her sister was also living with her. According to sassy Cali girl, her sister lived with her for about 3 months, and during that period, she used to play with the Ouija board. A few months later, after she moved out, strange things began to occur, and this is what she caught on camera.
You guys, I'm freaking out. Okay, my son is gone. He's not home. He's at a party. Yeah, I know. I look like don't care. I just got woken up. There's been a mimic here for a couple weeks. When my daughter's not here, I hear her say my name, and she's not there. I ignore it because I know it's a mimic. I have seen it on here. My daughter's home, but my son's not home. My son is the only one that lives upstairs. The only one upstairs. All night since he's been gone, I keep hearing like the door close. Like it'll just shut. Bro, my eyes are watering. This is scaring me. Hold on. Oh my God, as soon as I stopped it, I heard it.
Now scared and unsure what to do next, sassy Cali girl decides to record this phenomenon just to make sure that she's not hearing things. This is what happens next.
I know you guys heard that. I hope I caught that. Did you hear it? Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm scared. Okay, I'm gonna turn. Look, nobody's up here. Oh my God. Look at his door is closed. Oh my God. Nope. I gotta tell my daughter, boo-boo.
After hearing more knocks and witnessing the door open by itself, she calls her daughter to go with her to check the room out. And this is when things get really strange.
Oh my God. Why does it sound like, and I recorded it. It sounds like somebody's in your brother's room. And I went up there to show that the door was closed. Tell me why his door opened when I went up there. I swear, I ran down here by myself. I'm recording it. Oh my God. That made my eyes water, you guys. I showed it on camera. My son is not home. I'm not going to stop the recording just so I can show you guys. I know, I ran down here. I ran down here so fast. Okay. Oh my God, that scared me.
Now both sassy Cali girl and her daughter are pretty much scared, but they have to go upstairs to check this thing out. Maybe it's an animal, a bird, a bat, something that possibly got stuck inside his room. So they head upstairs, and this is when things take a really dark turn. Pay very close attention.
Look at his door is moving. Okay, we're gonna go up there and I'm gonna show you guys nobody is in his room. He is not here. Turn your flashlight on. Oh my God. Hurry up and come up here so you can point it to show nobody's in the room. Look. Look. Nobody's in here. Nobody.
Look, even Pixie.
You guys literally, you seen that in real time with me. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm freaking out. Oh no. I told you guys. And there's been that mimic. And my daughter has heard it when I'm not here. It says my name, or it says her name in my voice when I'm not here. It says my name in her voice when I'm not here. Or when she's not here. And now that's happening. Look at my dog. Oh, no. No, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not coming under the side of the house no more.
Did you see that? While going inside the room, they capture what appears to be a shadow figure to the left. At the time, they didn't see it, but there was something definitely inside that room with them. A few moments later, this thing makes itself apparent once more, and they get the heck out of there as fast as possible. Whatever it is a sassy Cali girl captured on camera that night, it could have been a shadow person. Some say that it was just the shadow of her arms while going inside the room. But I'm not sure that this is the case. In the video, we can clearly see that she opens the door with her right hand, and she's holding her phone with her left hand. So if it's not her moving her arms, where is this shadow coming from? Not only that, the room was clearly haunted. There was something inside.
I don't know, but I just saw her arm. I didn't see anything else in the gap. I just saw her arm. There's the door swung open, so it was just natural. Right. Anyway, that was interesting, wasn't it? It always is. It always is. To always remain expansive, liberating. Self-fulfilling, sometimes inspiring, sometimes pioneering, sometimes absurdly profoundly medieval. But nevertheless, it is a truth unfolding in destiny, with no concealment. For there is nothing to conceal anymore. And I am grateful for that. Right. Shall I see a thieves? Or shall I? What do I think I'll see a thieves. Yeah, I'll see a thieves.
Hello there, matey. See you, mate.
тихо.